All right, Trump basically told everybody the future when he said that he loves the undereducated, because that's exactly what he's looking for. And since then, he's been on a mission. And all of the little pieces of the puzzle that have been put together through the Heritage Foundation and all of the puppet masters behind the scenes of all of this stuff have been putting together things like the Mons of Liberty and activists like that who ban the books from the libraries, who actually educate the kids about actual historical things like Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King, and it's all history, that type stuff. And when you take away the history and you take away the mistakes that were made, you also take away how those mistakes and the retributions and trying to fix it and make it better was actually done, and what needs still to be worked on. You take away the lesson part of history. Then if you take away the lesson part of the history, you're only left with the mistakes once they find out the mistakes. But since history of it's all erased, there's nothing really to study. So Donald Trump and his jackassery buffoons have been wanting to really uneducate the world, which is why, Linda McMahon is in charge of everything, which is why they defunded everything from science to actual, studying cancer research and Alzheimer's research and all that other stuff that takes funding and subsidies from the government to actually make work. All that stuff is canceled. Anything to move our intellect and or our life, the quality of our life forward in any way, shape, or form, has basically been stripped from our future. When you're looking at schools being dumbed down to a point of just basically a factory of this is how you work for the man. There's no more music, there's no more art, there's no more entrepreneurialism, there's no more feeding of free thinking. And then you have the outside world beyond school, where all the news dissenting voices are basically being silenced and sued and manipulated, and the mergers going on between one company and another for billions and billions of dollars are contingent around a temperamental president that basically doesn't like the late night host, who happens to be the most profitable and most viewed entity in that thing that's being sold. And that person gets fired because the president, who shouldn't be involved at all, not only has a back office deal guaranteeing $20 million of pro-Trump advertising in a merger between Paramount and Sky. And you know what I'm saying? What happened to MAGA and small government not being involved in stuff like that? What happened to that being important? And more than anything, what happened to, what business is it of Donald Trump's, whether or not Stephen Colbert has, and now he's going after Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel? Ladies and gentlemen, everything that has happened since he got back into office is an extension of the most extreme bullshit that he said out loud that no one took seriously that he would have the support to actually do. And what surprised people the most is how democracies put together the guardrails to prevent all of this stuff that has happened from happening were there. Congress is a big key to that, supposed to be the guardrails to protect us against 90% of what he's done so far that's hurting us so badly. But when they're in the pocket and everything else is in the pocket, and you've got a con man that can basically override Congress and say, no, I'm going to threaten everybody with tariffs, everyone from Penguins to Mattel for that damn birthplace of Barbie, that I'm going to do this because I want to. And by the way, Russia just said something mean, so I'm going to go throw a couple of nuclear submarines right off their boundaries because he was mean to me. I believe the guy that was mean to him, that he's mad at, is the same guy that was in the White House with the other Russian Russian dignitary, on Trump's first thing. I think Dimitri's, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. It all makes perfect sense if you look at it from the big picture, and that's what you need to focus on. So stay diligent, stay educated, and be kind. We're all in this together.